Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Lokashankaram. So in the last class, we started our discussion on the concept of Maya as has been enunciated in Vivekachudamani by Bhagavad Shankaracharya. So in the 108th verse, which we were studying in the last class, what it states, Avyakta Namni Paramesha Shakti Anadi Avidya Trigunatmika Para Karyanumeya Sudhiya Eva Maya Yaya Jagat Sarvam Idam Prasuyate. So Avyakta Namni, the Maya is called undifferentiated. What's the meaning of the word undifferentiated? That the self is beyond all transformation. We cannot imagine any transformation in Brahman. And all sorts of transformations we find in this world. And this world is the projection of the Brahman. So in Advaita Vedanta, the idea is the Brahman first finds expression as the unmanifest, the Mahat. It is just like the seed. A seed, in the seed, a small seed, in it is inherent the potentiality of a huge tree, most probably a huge banyan tree. So in the small seed, the entire tree is as if lying there potentially. It has the power to manifest as a tree. So the seed is the avyakta, the unmanifested form of the whole tree. So similarly, Brahman, because of that Maya, appears as that avyakta, unmanifested. But in it is hidden the entire potentiality of the creation. As in the last class we were discussing, that how we can understand it in the microscopic level. In Vedanta, one of the very important aphorism is that whatever is in the microcosm, the same thing is in the macrocosm. If you remember, Swami Vivekananda had that revelation when he was in Almora, that microcosm and the macrocosm is built in the same plan. So to understand the way the universe manifests, if we first take the individual as a human being, so what we find here, the same thing can be found in the entire cosmos. Microcosm and the macrocosm is built in the same plan. So how to understand this idea of undifferentiated? That when I am in deep sleep, is my mind blank? No. All the various ideas are there lying dormant. I wake up, through the window I see a red flower in my garden. So from where that redness is coming, is it outside? No, as we have discussed again and again. That there is some stimulus, I don't know what it is there. The external world is unknown and unknowable. I can never know exactly what it is. What I see is the projection of the mind. There is something, but what it is, it's never known. What I see is just the attributes. The essence can never be known. What can be known is only easiness, that there is something. That's why Vedanta says the ultimate reality is Sat. It exists. There is some existence. But whenever I'm trying to understand it, immediately what is happening through the mind, the ideations which are already in the mind, that is projected. And all the attributes which I see, mistakenly I think them to be the essence of that that thing, that object, whatever it may be. But actually I am seeing just the attributes. I can never know what it is in essence. Only thing I can know is there is something. Easiness, that ease. But what it is, I can never know. The moment I wake up, that red flower I am seeing, what's that? How I am seeing? The redness, idea of redness was in the mind. The external light was just a stimuli, which activated the retina of my eyes. And once it activated the retina, immediately that light wave got converted into nerve current. And when it strikes the brain, the so-called color perception center, actually it has not perceived any color. Because the brain, we know, is totally dark. No light enters there. What I see is just the projection. The moment that nervous current, that particular wavelength of that nervous current, that particular wavelength of that nerve current, when it reaches the brain, the so-called color perception center, the color is not perceived. It is projected. It was already there. It was hidden. And then it's projected. It envelops the so-called flower to give me a feeling that it is red. So from this one example, we can understand that whatever we are seeing, whatever we are hearing, whatever we are smelling, whatever we are tasting, whatever we are touching, is not something which is there externally with all the attributes which I am seeing. All those attributes are there in my mind. They are informations. The word information, that something has been formed within. Information. This information is projected out to give you the sense of reality. So from that we can understand the idea of avyakta. That when I am in deep sleep, the entire universe is as if lying dormant in the mind. It is there. So from where all those conceptions have arise, I don't know. The conscious principle, when coming in association with them, so the conscious principle has to be there behind. If the mind without the conscious principle is not activated, then these ideations cannot be projected. So the conscious principle behind the mind activates the mind, and now all the ideas which are hidden, they have the potentiality to manifest as this universe of name and form. As per the stimuli we are responding, the projection is happening, and then the thing which was unmanifested is getting manifested. The effect is this manifestation, but the cause is in the seed form, is the avyakta. It is there, all those ideations. As Swami Vivekananda in Jnana Yoga, in one of his lecture, he is mentioning that the mind is not a tabula rasa. It's a word, Latin word, which means blank. That sometimes we think that as a child when we are born, that our mind was blank, and education is just like pouring the information into an empty vessel called mind, and that's how we learn. No. All the knowledge is already within. If it was not there, nothing was possible to be learned. It was impossible. It was already there. So that's why Swamiji is saying education is the manifestation of perfection already in man. All those ideas are already there. They just manifest. So because of the ignorance, how those ideations came, we don't know. It is anadi, beginningless. It is there. As whenever the stimuli is there, it manifests as the word. So now we get an idea that what is the idea of this avyakta? That the entire universe is the projection of the mind. If you read the Purana stories, what you will find? That Vishnu is lying in the ocean of consciousness. He is lying. Vishnu is the ultimate conscious principle. He is as if lying. He is just sleeping. No activity is seen there. From his navel, a lotus emanates. On that, Brahma, not Brahman, Brahma. Brahma is the cosmic mind. He is sitting there. What he is doing? He is just meditating. The entire world is the this product of the meditation of Brahma. That it is the ideation, that's Brahma's ideation, this cosmic mind, those ideas. From that this world has been generated. So now you will understand what you find in the individual mind. The same thing is in the cosmic, this idea of cosmic mind. All the ideas are there. The conscious principle coming in association with them, and then it projects to form this universe. Just like a prism, the white light falls on it and the light breaks into the spectrum of 7 colors. Similarly, this world of name and form is just like the spectrum, when the consciousness, because from the consciousness alone, the mind has emanated. How it has emanated, we don't know. But once it has emanated, from that, this universe is projected. You may say, how you know that the mind has emanated from consciousness? Because we can never know that how it has happened. But still we know it has happened. That's the ignorance. You may say, how? The answer is that throughout the ages, there are innumerable illumined souls who through contemplation went beyond the mind. A stage comes when they find the mind is no more there. They have as if merged in the consciousness. So if this mind can merge in the consciousness, that shows from there it came. But how it came, we can never know. So that's why it is called ignorance. That's why you will find, if you read the paper on Hinduism by Swami Vivekachudamani, there he is raising that question, that what's the answer of Vedanta, that how the perfect became imperfect, how something which is beyond all dualities got converted into the world of duality. And he's saying that all the so-called the philosophy which is based on duality, they try to give elaborate answer. But you will find none of them are rationally justifiable. You will find that it can easily be contradicted. You cannot justify them. So that's why Vedanta, the ultimate answer of Vedanta is, we don't know. It has happened, but how it has happened, we don't know. Then the question is, won't we know that, is it impossible to know how it has happened? The Vedanta says, what's the use of asking that how it has happened? There is a way out. This wonderful story of Buddha is there, that a man was passing through the forest. From nowhere, an arrow came and pierced through him. And that arrow was poisoned. Now, what's the duty of that man? Should he sit down and go on pondering who shot the arrow? Why he shot the arrow? What poison he has used? If he goes on pondering on those questions, he is going to die. His immediate duty is to get rid of the arrow and to apply antidote to get rid of this harmful effect of the poison and save himself. So how it has happened? Why we just waste time in all those theological questions? There's a way out. So that's why we find when they say avyakta, unmanifested, from that it has came. But from where that avyakta came, that we don't know. Somehow it is just the Shakti. The next word is Paramesha Shakti. The ultimate reality is reality, from that it came, so it is its power. So that much only we can say. And that is Anadi. It is beginningless. Avidya Trigunatmika Para. And this is Anadi. And this is Avidya. What the word? This Avidya means that actually doesn't exist. That's the way I see a tangible object. Now, what's this Maya is? Can I see it? No. The thing which is not Vidyamana, in that sense it is Avidya here. That which doesn't exist as a tangible entity. Trigunatmika. The word Trigunatmika means it is constituted of 3 gunas, Sattva, Raja, Tama. What it speaks of? Sattva speaks of illumination. That all those avyakta, all those ideations which are lying dormant, that speaks of tamas, darkness. When the external stimuli activates them, that gets that which was in darkness, that gets illumined. That knowledge which generates of that particular object. When I'm seeing the flower, the idea of the flower illumines my mind. That this illumination, these three gunas are not something segregate, separate. They are constantly transforming. The moment the stimuli activates the mind, the tamas, a particular aspect of the tamas. There are so many things which are still lying hidden. Innumerable ideas are hidden. Only one idea of that flower. That also not as a whole. Various ideas, the redness, the shape, the fragrance, all conglomerated to give you the idea of the flower, and that has illumined the mind, and this illumination is sattva, that jnana, that knowledge comes. So now you will find that it is just transforming. The tamas got transformed into sattva. Now as per my tendency, I get up, if I am a devotee of God, I go pluck the flower, offer it at the feet of the divine in the altar. Just giving an example. So a response, how we are responding to it. I just like the flower in the garden. I won't pluck it at all. I would be now much more enthusiastic. Oh, one flower has come. If I water the plant nicely, most probably more flowers will come. So I will go and take care of the plant. So all these various responses as per my temperament comes once the ideation has illumined the mind. That's ideation which was dormant, which came and illumined the mind, and now the response comes. So wherever we see living being, what's the distinction between something inanimate and animate? This is the only thing. A stone doesn't respond to stimuli. All these so-called animated beings are responding to the stimuli. So now I will find what the idea of sattva, raja, tama is. Tamas is this darkness. Rajas is the activity, the response which comes from that knowledge which has illumined your mind. So you will understand the sattva, raja, tama are not three segregate things. The same thing is getting transformed, tamas to sattva, sattva to rajas. So this constant mutation is going on. So now you will understand why it has been mentioned that the maya, which is avyakta, is trigunatmika. The three gunas which constitutes our entire existence. That constantly throughout the life, what we are doing? We are responding to the stimuli, nothing else. Constantly. All the complexities in the form of feelings, emotions that have developed much later. But the basic thing behind all of them is we are responding to the stimuli. These responses speak of the rajas. That's what speaks of satya, raja, tama. So how can we understand that there's something called maya is there? Because it is not visible, it is avyakta, from the karya, from the effect. So when that I saw the red flower, it illumined my mind, I reacted to it. From all this effect I can understand that there must be something in my mind as idea already there, which is avyakta. That is finding expression. Why it is called maya? Because immediately I have the idea this flower is out there. But it is not there. It is the ideation which has been projected. So what I am seeing is not the thing as it is. That's what the word maya means. Maya. Ya means yatha yatha. As it is. Ma is a negation. That what I am seeing and feeling that it is as it is there is actually not there. It is apparent. It is virtual. It is something construed. So that's the thing. From the karya, I can understand the existence of this avyakta namni paramesha shakti. So that's what the Sudhi, those who are really mananashila, the wise man, those who are not just carried away by the sensate perceptions, they try to understand the psychology, the working behind all those perceptions, how it is happening. The entire science has developed by taking the sensate perceptions as real. I take them to be real. Based on that, all the science has developed. Vedanta is that whether what I am perceiving is that authentic, how that perception has happened. So it's two different fields. So from there, so here the Sudhi who is questioning this perception, that the thing which I am perceiving, how I am perceiving, is it something really real outside there? So that's the one who is Sudhi, whose Dhi is Su, means of good intellect, who can really question the authenticity of the perception. So they are the Sudhi. So they understand from the effect the working of the Maya. Yaya Jagat Sarvam Idam Prasyate. So the entire this world is projected. How? When I wake up, when I was sleeping, the world was not there. Sri Ramakrishna is saying that we, a king with so much of power, valor, when he's sleeping, if someone comes and spit on him, he is helpless. Because the world doesn't exist. He is beyond all the feeling. The moment he wakes up, the world pops up. From where it is popping up? From within or without to without. The consciousness is illuminating the mind which is the product of the Maya. Consciousness illumines that, and the world is entirely projected outside from the mind. So this Jagat Prasuyate, from where it is coming? From the Avyakta, from the mind. So that's the idea which has been spoken of in the 108th verse. So after that we will come to the 109th verse. Now to really understand this Maya is so difficult. So when Maya is just like that prism, from the once, if I look at the one side, I see that white light. On the other side, I see the spectrum. And this prism is not visible, that is avyakta. So what is its nature? If I try to see it from the standpoint of the undifferentiated reality, it appears to be something. And when I look from the other side, where it is a projected reality, it appears as something. So neither it is this, nor it is that. It cannot be described, but it is there. I cannot deny its existence, but it is something ineffable. So that's the thing very nicely, poetically has been described in the 109th verse. What it is saying? Sat na asatna. It is neither sat nor asat. We will come to the technical meaning of these words. First, just let us go through the literal meaning. Ubhayatmika na. It is neither sat nor asat, nor it is both. Bhinna api, abhinna api, ubhayatmika na. It is not separate from that, completely something separate from. Bhinna means separate from the ultimate reality, the conscious, ultimate non-dual Brahman consciousness. And again, it is not separate. And again, I cannot say that it is totally separate. So this paradox, tremendous paradox is there. What it means, we will come to the discussion. Sa anga api ananga api hi ubhayatmikana. Neither is it with parts, nor is it without parts. Neither ubhayatmika, nor can I say that it is both, that it is with parts as well as without parts. Maha adbhuta anirvachaniya rupa. Anirvachaniya means indescribable, ineffable. Adbhuta, it is something mysterious. It exists, but I can never really understand what it is. So, Satna. So, in Vedanta, we have to understand this word. Sat means reality. In one sense, it means reality. What is reality? That which is Trikalavadita, whose existence can never be interrupted by any phase of time, past, present, future. It was, it is, it will be. The self is Sat. Can I call Maya is Sat? It is always, it is the Shakti of the Sat, of the ultimate conscious principle. If it is its Shakti, what power, the power which I have is always associated with me. So if it is something which is associated with me, if I am Sat, then my power is also Sat. So in that sense, we can say that if it is the Paramesha Shakti, it is the power of that ultimate reality, and the ultimate reality is Sat, then Maya is Sat? No. Why? Because we find a man of realization, when he goes to that state of Samadhi, the Maya has fallen off. He has realized his identity with the ultimate reality. The entire so-called the phenomenon existence as if collapses when he goes to the Samadhi. The name, world of name and form, no more exists for him. When he has gone to that state. So, can we say that it is Ananta? No. That Maya is Anadi. It is beginningless. From when it is there, we never know. But it do end with the realization. Just to give an example, when I am dreaming, I am having some nightmare, and suddenly I wake up, and then I realize, I was dreaming. Now I know that my dream has broken. I am awake. I am no more dreaming. But if I ask, when you started dreaming, can you say? So you cannot say. So in that sense, it is Anadi. It is beginningless. When it started, how it started, we can never, find it out. We can never. But it do have an end. So the Atman is Sat. It is, it was, it will be. It is eternally present. Just to give an example of that, seeing a snake in a rope in the twilight hours. When you are passing, you see that the rope is lying because of the lack of proper light. You see a snake. You get scared, you run, you bring a stick, and then someone brings a torch and says, look, it is not the snake. It is just the rope. So your ignorance vanished. Now, did this rope really disappear at any point of time? No. It was, even when I was seeing it as a snake, it was rope. And when someone with a torch came and focused and my delusion has vanished, it is still the rope. The rope is like that idea of Trikalavadita. It was, it is, it will be. But my ignorance, I don't know that how it came, when it came. That way it is Anadi. But it breaks at certain point of time. Then the moment someone brings a torch, focuses the light, ignorance has vanished. So no more the ignorance is in association with that Brahman. As a Shakti, it is no more. For the time being, it has vanished. So that's why I cannot say it is Sat. It is that it exists. Then is it Asat? No, it cannot be said Asat also. Because we tangibly feel this universe. It is there for me at present, and I am working. It's very interesting that if it was something imagination, then working was not possible. All our activities are going on with proper cohesion. Is it happening? Then how can I simply say it is not existent? In Vedanta, they give a very nice example that there is a difference between imagination and something which is not real. Alik and Asat. There is a difference. What is that? Now, if I just suddenly say a word, a hare with horns or a rabbit with horns, immediately in your mind you can visualize that a rabbit with horns. You can visualize. But can you ever find the corresponding reality? No, it's not there. It's a mere imagination which has no corresponding reality. So this is something alik. Once here the word asat means alik. It is not there. But when I see a snake in a rope, is something there? Yes, the rope is there. On that I am seeing the snake. So I cannot say it is asat. Something is appearing as something else, but something is there. So I cannot say, so this is a very bit technical. But at the same time, if you try to understand it, that the way they have done the analysis is something wonderful. That how it is something ineffable. You cannot describe it. It is neither sat nor asat. As it is experienceable, I cannot say it is simply asat. It is that, see the Shashastringa, the rabbit with horns, it is not experienceable. You can imagine in your mind, but can you experience? No. But here, that when I am seeing a snake in the rope, I have to experience something. On that the delusion happens. So I cannot say I am not experiencing anything. That I am seeing something. I am seeing the rope, but because of delusion, it is appearing as snake. So I simply cannot say it is asat. So neither it is sat nor it is asat. Bhinna apina. It is not separate from Brahman. Why? Because everything is the projection of Brahman. Brahman is ekam eva advitiyam. So as such, nothing is separate from Brahman. Because of ignorance, Brahman is appearing as this world of name and form. So I cannot separate its existence from Brahman. It is a Brahman which is appearing as that. So it is bhinna apina. It is not separate from that. At the same time, abhinna apina. So I cannot say that it is one with Brahman. Why? Because the Brahman is beyond all sorts of transformation. It is beyond all sorts of cause and effect. But because of Maya in this world, we find all sorts of cause and effect, transformation, one thing affecting other. In a common way to understand that why it is not abhinna, that the example which we give, that when I see a snake in the rope, does the snake has the capacity to inflict poison on the rope? No. The rope is something transcendent. When I see the mirage in the desert, that huge reservoir, does that reservoir has the capacity even to drench a single sand particle? No. So I cannot say it is abhinna, it is one with that, because it is in no way can affect the other. So it is neither bhinna nor abhinna. So the Maya is, when it is destroyed with the dawn of knowledge, if Maya is one with Brahman, it has to be accepted. The Brahman too gets also, this is another way of understanding. That if I think that it is one with Brahman, then when Maya gets annihilated, then Brahman also gets annihilated, I have to say. Because it is one with that. But that is again an ambiguous question. So I cannot say it is one with Brahman, nor I can say it is separate from Brahman. Asanga apina, sa anga, it has not with parts. So anything which has parts must have originated at certain point of time. Because all the thing which has parts has to conglomerate. Just take this room, building, it was not there. This is where I am sitting at present. At certain point of time, I imagined it in my mind. It was just an imagination. And based on the imagination, the engineer made a blueprint. It is still non-existent. Then all the materials came. As per the blueprint, the tradies came, the technicians came. And then the building was built. How it was built? At certain point of time by the conglomeration of so many things. The labor of the tradesperson, the materials, the intelligence of the intellect of the so-called the architect, the idea of the owner, everything conglomerated to create it at certain point of time. So now Brahman is beyond all sorts of these parts. So what it says is anything which is parts. So now Maya, sorry, not Brahman. The Maya is just undifferentiated. It has no parts. So how can I say that it is something which is having parts? Because it has not been created. It is what you say, anadi. It is beginningless. Anything which is beginningless, means it has not conglomerated. And which has not conglomerated means something which is simple, homogeneous. As Maya is something which is anadi, beginningless, that speaks it has never conglomerated. So if it has not conglomerated, it is something simple, it is homogeneous. That means we cannot say that it is with parts, sa anga, that it has many parts. So it is not sa anga nor ananga. Why nor ananga? Because the world again is a product of Maya. From this, just as we were saying, from one side of the prism it appears as homogeneous light, white light. The other part, it is a spectrum. So if I see this world, which is of parts, which has came from Maya, so how can I say that Maya has no parts? It must be lying hidden as all those components in the so-called in Maya. So if the parts are there in the effect, the cause also must have it. So I cannot say it is sa anga, it is not ananga. So I cannot define it in any way. It is. So we shouldn't get confused. See, this is something which was defined long back. Even the same thing the modern science says about the so-called fundamental qualities. Just if I say, what's this? If I have to define the table, the table in front of which I am sitting. I say it is of such and such area. Okay. What is area? The area is length into breadth. What is length? The distance between two objects. What is distance? It is something fundamental. Now you cannot define. You again have to just repeat the same thing. Distance is the length between the two objects. What is the length? The distance between the two. So you at last come to some point where you have to take that this is something fundamental. The word fundamental means what? That which cannot be defined. All things can be defined based on that. So here also in science also you will find that the moment you go to the fundamental principles, it is something indescribable, ineffable. The same thing, the Maya from which the entire universe has came out is the foundation. That's the fundamental thing from which it has came out. So it is impossible to define. It is, but I can in no way define it. And that's what is being spoken of by Bhagavad Pada Shankaracharya in this sloka. And at last he is concluding, it is Maha Adbhuta Anirvachaniya. It is a fundamental thing based on which the entire creation has happened. But it is Anirvachaniya, it is ineffable. You cannot in any way describe it. Now after saying that, the next sloka will say that there is a way to get rid of Maya. So it exists, but it is as has been mentioned, it is beginningless. It is Anadi, but it is not Ananta. It has an end. It can be obliterated. And what's the way to get rid of it? Just the way when I am seeing a snake in a rope. Someone brings and focuses the torch on it, and immediately the knowledge comes. The knowledge dawns in, oh, it is just the rope. And the ignorance vanishes. So what is the opposite of ignorance? Knowledge. The moment the knowledge is there, ignorance vanishes. Similarly here, the Maya, which is the product of ignorance, that vanishes when the knowledge of the self dawns in. So that's being indicated by Shankaracharya in the 110th verse. What he's saying? Shuddha Advaya Brahma Vibodha Nashya. So it can be obliterated. When that Maya can be destroyed, Nashya means it can be destroyed. Nasha, the thing which can be destroyed. Nasha means destruction, and that which can be destroyed is Nashya. Nasha is destruction, Nashya is that which can be destroyed. So Nashya, what is Nashya? This Maya is Nashya, it can be destroyed. When? By the realization of that pure, non-dual Brahman. Shuddha Advaya Brahma Vibodha. Vishesha Rupe Bodha. These words are very important. So Bodha means intellectual knowledge. When I say that you are not this body-mind complex, you are the Brahman, I think I have understood. It is just an intellectual conception. Vibodha, Vishesha Rupe Bodha. This prefix V means that I am just not having an intellectual conception. Through the process of sadhana, spiritual practices, I went to the state of samadhi where I am as if realizing the truth face to face. That is vibodha. That Sri Ramakrishna says, some have heard of milk, some have seen milk, and some have drank it and got nourished by it. So for us, the scriptural knowledge is just like seeing the milk. It's of no use. Or just hearing of milk. It's of no use. We have to drink it and get nourished by it. So vibodha means that, the one who have realized through spiritual evolution, he has went to the realization where he has gone beyond the mind to go to the state of samadhi, and such is the one. He has realized that Shuddha, that pure, non-dual Brahman. So it is not just mere intellectual conviction which we have from hearing about the scripture and just analyzing and having some analytical study of it. From that we have some intellectual conviction. That is just bodha. Vibodha means realization. So Shuddha Advaya Brahma Vibodha, the one who has went through that realization. For him Maya obliterates. Nashya. Sarpa, and then he's giving that example which we were just speaking of. Sarpa Brahma Rajju Vivekata Yatha. Just the way that when I am being deluded by seeing a rope as a snake, the moment that ignorance vanishes, someone brings the light and I see the rope, the knowledge dawns in. By seeing the rope, the snake vanishes. So both cannot stay together. When I am seeing the rope, the snake is no more there. When the snake is there, I don't see the rope. When I see the world, I can never be aware of that Brahman. Though intellectually I may say, I am Brahman, but I can never be aware of it as long as I see the world. Just here, that example we can see. When I am seeing the snake, do I see the rope? No. The moment my knowledge dawns in, that I see the rope again, the snake has vanished. Similarly, Brahman and this world cannot stay together. Sometimes we have the idea that the consciousness is behind through which the body is working. It's again that intellectual idea. When I am really aware of that consciousness, I am beyond this body-mind complex. These two cannot be perceptible at the same time. So, Sarpa Brahma Raju Vivekatayata. The moment I see the Raju, this rope, Sarpa Brahma has vanished. That idea of the snake has vanished. This visualization of the snake has vanished. So now we will understand that these are speaking of realization, not just intellectual knowledge. And after saying that, now it is again saying that this ignorance is because of these three gunas, which is the constituent of the Maya. Raja, Tama, Sattvam, Iti Prasiddha. This ignorance is three gunatmika, as has been spoken of in the last verse. Here, that what are the three gunas has been specifically mentioned. This Raja, Tama, Sattva. Iti Prasiddha, Guna Tadiya, Prathithai Swakaryai. The three gunas, by their work, the way they are working, its qualities are known to be Rajas, Tamas and Sattva, and they are well known by their actions. As we just mentioned, that Maya as such is not perceptible, but by its action, by the way it is acting, I can know. These ideas, the moment we relate with some scientific knowledge, immediately we say, oh, it makes sense. Otherwise we say it is all hocus, it's all hodgepodge. It makes confusion. As Swami Vivekananda used to say a very interesting thing. If nowadays someone comes and says that Vyasa said this and this, or Patanjali said this and this, immediately we start doubting. And if someone says Einstein said this or Newton said this, we needn't have to even, he's saying we just swallow it. We don't need even salt. We just swallow it. He says this is scientific superstition, and that was most probably the religious superstition. But both are superstition. So now how to get rid of the superstition? Okay, with the help of scientific superstition, we try to understand. In science, that how it can be understood, as we were saying, that can I see light? You say yes, no, we don't see light. When light falls on an object, it gets illumined. From that I can know that light is there, but I can never see light. Can I see gravitation? No. When an object is falling, seeing the falling object, I can have the knowledge of gravitation, but I can never see gravitation. Can I see magnetism? No. When the iron filings are being attracted by this iron bar, then I understand this iron bar is nothing but a magnet. But can I see magnetism? No. From the effect, I know that there is something called magnetism. Similarly, from the effect in the form of this Sattva Rajatama, I can now understand the existence of Maya. So that's how this verse is indicating. gunatadiya prathitai swakarya. So its qualities are known to be this rajas, tamas and sattva, and they are well known. Prathitai means they are well known, swakarya, from their actions. You cannot know from the cause. The cause is not some. The effect, from the effect, I can infer about the cause. Just the way I infer about light from an illumined object, just the way I infer about magnetism from the iron filings that are being attracted, I am infer about gravitation from a falling object. So similarly, this Maya is inferred by the working of these three gunas. So after saying that, now Shankaracharya will proceed, Bhagavad Pada Shankaracharya will proceed to enunciate, to describe these three gunas one by one. So this sattva, just before we start the next sloka, to have an idea that this Maya has three types of Shakti, three powers. What are the three powers? Avarana Shakti, Vikshepa Shakti, Jnana Shakti. So these are technical terms and sometimes we get a bit confused, but if you try to understand from your common sense, it's very easy. Avarana Shakti, Vikshepa Shakti, Jnana Shakti. What is that? That the women, just again take that example. When I'm seeing a snake in a rope, what has happened? That ignorance, what are the powers of that ignorance? Three powers. First power is that somehow that rope has been concealed. I don't see the rope. When I'm seeing the snake, the rope has been concealed. This power of concealment is avarana. Avarana means concealing. Once it is concealed, then it is projected as something else. Avarana is the concealment, and now once it is concealed, now I am seeing it as a snake. It is projected as snake. That is a vikshepa. Avarana, vikshepa. Someone brings the torch, lights it, my ignorance vanishes, jnana arises. So now, from that ignorance only, now that jnana again is coming. So jnana shakti. So now you will understand that what it is speaking of. So Maya has three shakti: avarana, vikshepa and jnana. This avarana and vikshepa is the cause of our bondage, and jnana shakti, it is the power of Maya. That sometimes we blame Maya. We say, oh, it is the cause of our suffering. But it is matri sama. It is just like mother. Sri Ramakrishna gives a very nice example. That as long as the child is happy with the toys, playing with the toys, mother is busy with her work. She has given some toys, some chocolates and some toys. With that the child is busy. Mother doesn't care. Mother is doing her own work. The child is playing. When the child throws all the toys and chocolates and everything and starts crying, almost screaming, mother will leave all her work, come running to just take the child in her lap, isn't it? So it's a very simple example he's giving. So here also this, when we say that Maya is something which is a villain, it's not the villain, it is just like the mother. As long as we are busy with this world, this avarana shakti and the vikshepa shakti, these are the cause with which we are entangled. Again, it is the Maya's capacity, within that Maya, that jnana shakti is also there. That through the process of Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, I hear the words of the scripture. It is just like some person who has brought the torch and focused on that rope. So scripture is like that torch. They're saying, no, what you're saying is not correct. See. So what is the torch? It is the process of Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. First you hear. The one who brought the torch, first he said, what you are seeing, what is scaring you is actually a harmless thing. It is just the rope. First he says that. And then that thought comes to you, oh, most probably it is that. He shows the light. Then you see it. So this throwing of the light is like Nididhyasana. Shravana, that first that when you hear that, and immediately that second thought comes, oh, maybe I'm being deluded, it is something else. And then the focus confirms, oh yes, what he's saying is correct. So similarly that here also, that Maya Shakti, this Jnana Shakti, enables us to get rid of that ignorance. So these three Shaktis constitutes the three gunas. The Avarana Shakti speaks of the tamas, that concealment, the tamas. Vikshepa Shakti speaks of rajas, and the Jnana Shakti speaks of sattva, from which the knowledge dawns in. So these three are the gunas which will be taken one by one by Shankaracharya, and that will be enunciated in details. So we will just go to the 111th verse, which defines the Vikshepa Shakti, that is the rajas. First it will take the rajas, then it will take the tamas, and then it will take sattva. If we just study the definition of that rajasa as the Vikshepa Shakti, and we will continue with the discussion again in the succeeding class. We will go through it, just we will highlight what it has been said in this sloka, and in details again we will take up in the next class. What it is saying? Vikshepa Shakti rajasa kriyatmika yata pravriti prasuta purani raga adaya asya prabhavanti nityam dukkhadaya ye manasa vikara. So this the very nice, very precise definition. What is saying? The Vikshepa Shakti, or the projecting power, that pertains to rajas activity. Projecting power. The moment the reality is concealed and it is projected, seeing that projected thing. Now, what is happening? Just to give best is the example. That as we give that example, that through that through the microscope, I see in a petri dish that lot of microbes are moving randomly. I put a drop of nutrient. All those randomly moving these microbes, they gather a direction, they move towards it. If I put some toxin, they will be running away from it. So what it speaks of, that the moment that the stimuli, that in the form of nutrient, is perceived by even a microbe, what to speak of a human being, then what happens? The idea of the nutrient was there in that microbe, even in that microbe. When it understands that it is something which is going to save me, immediately that reaction comes. So the tamas is being activated by external stimuli to generate that sattva, that jnana, and immediately the rajas comes into picture to react to it. Oh, it is something favorable for my existence. The self takes, as he identifies itself with the body-mind complex from which the ego has arose. What happens then? Immediately it will try to realize its eternity through the body-mind complex, because it is deluded now. And now to sustain the body-mind, it is getting drawn towards it. Once the ego comes into picture, from that this raga, dvesha, abhinivesha, as in the Yoga Sutras is spoken of. Whatever is favorable for my existence, pleasurable for my existence, I get drawn towards it. So all these responses speaks of rajas. So that's being spoken of. Vikshepa Shakti. The moment I don't see the thing as it is, because of that it appears as something, and because of my ego I am something different from it. Now the question comes, the thing which I am seeing, whether it is favorable for me or it is something not favorable for me. If it is favorable for me, now the response will come. I will be drawn towards it. And if it is something not favorable for me, I will be running away from it. Or I will try to get rid of it. Either I will respond through fight and flight response, or through obsession, or through attachment. Those are the three main basic responses. And these responses are nothing but rajas. So that's what is being spoken of. This Vikshepa Shakti, Rajasa Kriyatmika. It is of the nature of action. This Rajas is of the nature of action. Yata Pravritti Prasuta. If you don't know, from beginningless time, it has resulted in all the Pravritti. Pravritti means going out, moving out. We respond by just either being drawn towards it or by going away from it. Whatever it is which speaks, it speaks of responding to some external stimuli. So that's why it is pravritti. So I am reacting to it. So from where it has came, this permeable flow of activity has emanated from this rajas. And what are the things which actually causes this activity? Raga adaya. Raga is, as we were speaking of, raga, dvesha, abhinivesha. Raga, attachment. Dvesha is also raga. That what I find is harmful for my existence, I run away from it. What it speaks? That my attachment for my life is making me hate it or to run away from it. So, ragadaya. So, whatever, whether it is raga or it is dvesha or it is abhinivesha, whatever it may be, it is all raga ultimately. That's why Shankaracharya says raga adi. The others are also raga. So this ragadaya asya prabhavanti nityam. So these are the things which results in that action. Raga, this attachment. And dukkhadaya ye manasa vikara. And this motivation at last doesn't give us any satisfaction. It results in misery. Dukkhadaya. Because there is no satiation. The word dukkha means dissatisfaction. That constantly we are chasing after them, but we never get any satiation. We go in the circle of, as has been spoken of by Shankaracharya, as a cycle of avidya, kama, karma. From ignorance, this desire comes, kama, this raga, raga adaya is the kama, and from that karma emanates. And this cycle goes on life after life. So, and this speaks of that hedonistic treadmill, we'll say, that we are ever running, never reaching, not a distant glimpse of soul. This constantly, all these desires make me feel that once I get it, I will be satiated. But again we find we are in the same place. Again the desire arises. I'm hungry, I take my food, again the hunger comes back. Whatever in this life we enjoy, it's not unending. So all these so-called satisfactions are not really satisfaction. They are just like fire, as has been spoken of in our scripture. That if you pour oblations in the fire, it flares up. It never gets satiated. Fire to exist needs the fuel. The moment you put fuel, it is never satiated. That's so enough of this fuel. No. The more you put, the more it flares up. The similar is all these raga, attachments. The more you try to get satisfied by it, the more it increases. That's the reason for which it has been spoken of as dukkha, means dissatisfaction. We are never satisfied. So dukkhadayaye manasa. From that, all these mental afflictions in the form of dukkha arises. So that's what has been spoken of in the 111th verse. The next verse also will continue with the enunciation of the rajas, which we will again take up in the next class. So with this, we stop our discussion today. Thank you all. Namaskar.